Hello. Since my last broadcast to you, we've had a very busy parliamentary timetable. Perhaps most interestingly, I've been able to, with other members of Parliament, to ensure that we're going to have here in the House of Commons a debate on Welsh affairs. For 2 years that hasn't occurred, but it had been a feature of parliamentary life since the 1940s. And at that debate I certainly will be raising the issue of the importance of the union of Wales and England continuing. On a more local level, I managed to speak in debates on local public houses, which I think are very important for the community life in our valley. And of course, in addition to that, there's the question of the closure of Blaenavon HSBC Bank. And fortunately, there was a debate in the House of Commons last week where rural and other bank closures were discussed and debated, and I was able to raise the issue of Blaenavon being without a bank. On a more constituency level, there have been a number of issues which I've been dealing with. The issue, for example, of the parade for John Fielding, held every February to commemorate Rorke's Drift. That parade had been put into jeopardy, but together with others we were able to ensure that the parade went ahead. There are a number of important issues affecting tenants of Blaenavon, the organisation which looks after what used to be council housing in Torfaen, and these are matters of grave concern, and I'm working with tenants and with the Assembly member and councillors at these particular issues. Rugby is part of our life in our valley, and I've been working with Owen Smith MP to try to ensure that club rugby is put on a position to where it was many years ago. I think regional rugby, frankly, isn't attracting the same sort of interest as club rugby does, and we're working very heavily on that. And on the same issue, people in Blaenavon are trying to erect a statue of Ken Jones, one of our most famous rugby players and athletes to come from the Eastern Valley. And I hope that the launch we're going to have this week in the House of Commons will be another landmark in trying to ensure that we have that statue erected as soon as we can. The big issue in Torfaen, or one of the big issues, are jobs, and constantly it's so important for members of Parliament to work with the Welsh Government and with local government to try to ensure the highest level of employment we can obtain, whilst another hugely significant matter which affects everybody is the National Health Service. Now, as you know, there are big changes planned in England for the NHS. These won't affect us in Wales, but that hasn't stopped many of my constituents writing to me complaining about the fact that they think that the health service will be taken out of public hands. And so it does indicate how sacred the National Health Service is for people in the Eastern Valley. Bear in mind, of course, that our health service was founded by a Monmouthshire man, Aneurin and Bevan, in 1948. So these are the different things that I'm dealing with at the moment. If you want to contact me about these or other issues, then you will see on my website all the contact details. Thank you very much for listening to me.